So today we're talking about getting started with LinkedIn. As always, I'd like to start by making sure that everyone can hear me okay. The audio on these webinars isn't always amazing, so you might have to turn up your volume slightly. So if everyone could just send me a confirmation message that you can hear me, that would be much appreciated. Just looking for a confirmation that the audio is working, that you can hear me. Perfect. Good stuff. So, well, I hope everyone is having a good morning so far. My name is Wade Patterson, and I'm the Social Media and Communications Coordinator with RE/MAX of Western Canada. So you can reach me anytime with questions, whether it's related to social media, related to communications. Regardless of what your questions are, my email is wpatterson@remax.net, or you can phone 1-800-563-3622, that's our head office number here, and ask for Wade. So there have been several social media specific webinars we've done over the past couple of months. Some of those have included social media tips and advice for agents, Twitter 101, Facebook for beginners, and most recently, posting great social media content. So you can find all of those webinars on RE/MAX of Western Canada's YouTube channel, or you can visit the Region Update website, and that's remax-western.ca/blog, and you will find there as well under training and recorded videos, you will find all of those webinar recordings as well. Today's webinar will also be recorded. So just kind of an explanation of how we're doing it. We're building our social media webinars from the ground up, essentially. So we want there to be basic webinars as resources for agents who are brand new to social media. And once we've covered our bases, we're going to start getting into some of the more advanced topics. So in future months, we'll be covering, a little more intricate things, maybe things like Facebook advertising, stuff like that. The next couple of webinars, though, we're still going to cover Google Plus basics, and we're also going to do a webinar on Instagram basics in the next couple months. You can check the Region Update website or calendar under events for all of that latest info. So for those viewers who are familiar with Twitter, you may have noticed in the bottom left-hand corner there is a hashtag for this webinar. Feel free to tweet about the webinar. You can also tweet any questions using that hashtag, and I'll be responding to those after the webinar. And I'll also be posting a recorded copy of today's talk on LinkedIn, getting started with LinkedIn. I'll post that to the YouTube channel or Region Update website, and of course I will post it on Twitter with the RE/MAX social hashtag. All right, getting back to LinkedIn. So the topics we're going to cover today are: what is LinkedIn? Why should I join LinkedIn? How do I get started / set up my LinkedIn profile? And last, what are some tips for using LinkedIn effectively? I'm sure most of you are fairly familiar with what LinkedIn is, but for those who aren't, in a nutshell, LinkedIn is the world's largest online professional network. So in 2014, LinkedIn reached 300 million registered users, and according to its website, there are currently 347 million registered members. Interesting stat, 10 million, as you can see here, 10 million of those users are in Canada. And when you consider the entire Canadian population is 35 million, that is a pretty impressive number. Students and recent college graduates are LinkedIn's fastest growing demographic. But most importantly, LinkedIn should be considered a place where you can go to build your professional identity. Moving into some of the reasons it's a good idea to join LinkedIn. First off, LinkedIn is a great place to establish connections. So whether that's going to be other real estate professionals or connecting with clients, LinkedIn is the most professional of the social media networks to do so in. Another benefit of having a LinkedIn profile is that LinkedIn ranks incredibly high on Google searches. So just as an example, you'll see on the screen, I recently did a Google search of Elton Ash, who of course is our RE/MAX of Western Canada Regional Executive Vice President. So that search came out with 754,000 results, and the #1 result was Elton's LinkedIn profile. So I think this is something to really keep in mind. A bit later, I'm going to get into the importance of keeping your LinkedIn profile active, and this is a big reason why. If a potential client of yours happens to Google your name, there's a good chance your LinkedIn profile is one of the first things he or she will see. If you have an up-to-date and strong LinkedIn profile, then this can be a great and powerful tool. Third reason why LinkedIn might be a good choice for you if you haven't signed up yet and you're thinking about it, well, LinkedIn is a great place to promote your own skills. So within your own LinkedIn profile, there's a section dedicated to skills and endorsements. You can choose what kinds of skills you want to appear on your profile. Then as you make more LinkedIn connections, those individuals can go and endorse you for the skills you have written, if they agree that you do possess that skill set. So eventually what you might find is a screen like the one shown, where you've got a few skills listed and then tens or even hundreds of people have recognized that you have that skill set. And right now, I think we're living in a culture that strongly values what others have to say about goods, services, and even people. This is one reason TripAdvisor has done so well. I know for myself, before I buy any product on Amazon, I take a read through the customer reviews just to check it out. People are far more likely to believe that you are an expert in luxury property, for example, if 90 people have endorsed you, compared to just you yourself writing a statement saying that you are very knowledgeable about the luxury market. Another reason, LinkedIn gives you the ability to publish posts, and this is something that can be of incredible value to you. It's my belief that the most valuable social media content you can offer is that content which you have created yourself, especially if it is relevant to your local market and especially if it offers something that's original. Publishing on LinkedIn gives you an opportunity to share your knowledge with your connections. LinkedIn also gives those who are not your connections the ability to follow you if they read your post and choose to do so. And then in that case, they'll be updated when you publish future posts. I'm going to get in later on in the webinar a little more into how publishing posts works, but also these LinkedIn posts can be searchable. This is a tool that LinkedIn's that's going to help set you apart from many others who use LinkedIn, because many people are not using this. The last reason, and this one's a little bit thinking, I guess, outside the box, but LinkedIn is treated as a professional social media site. And so one benefit that might come from you using LinkedIn is that you might avoid some of those issues that are a bit more common with the social media networks, such as Facebook, such as Instagram. So many agents have Facebook business pages, but some choose just to have a Facebook personal page and use it as a way to build relationships, which is absolutely great. The only challenge is that you have to have a pretty close eye on what's happening, what photos you're being tagged in, what statements people are mentioning you in. Not to mention, you have to be mindful of what you are posting as well. With LinkedIn, though, most people understand this is a professional social media site, and they treat it that way. So you're not going to get tagged in a photo at the bar of you drinking pints when you're on LinkedIn, whereas on Facebook, depending who your Facebook friends are, this is much more of a possibility. So I'd say that that's one benefit is having that one less worry about your social image perhaps on LinkedIn, and that's a bonus. Okay, so moving in to getting started with LinkedIn, as with any social media site, LinkedIn makes it pretty clear how to initially set up your profile. You're going to be asked to create a username and then to enter your email address so that LinkedIn can import your address book to suggest connections and help you manage your contacts. LinkedIn will then ask you various questions such as what school you attended, what you're interested in, and it will give you some suggestions for other potential connections as well. No matter what social media site you're using, it's important to take the time setting up your profile. But with LinkedIn, it's especially important, very, very important. Remember, this is one of the ways people are going to judge you, get information about you on a professional level. And LinkedIn, since it rates so high on Google, there's perhaps a better chance people will look at your LinkedIn profile as compared to Facebook, Twitter, and those other social media sites. There are many sections you can fill out on your LinkedIn profile, and the site will help walk you through the setup. You may not get around to doing everything at once, and that's okay. I think building your LinkedIn profile is a bit of a process. LinkedIn will also prompt you to answer questions about your profile periodically with the goal of putting more information on it. You have an opportunity to list your work experience, education, and you can even add info about other languages you speak, volunteering experience, causes you care about, etc. And I think the more information you can fill out on your profile, the better. So really take some time when you get started, or even if you've had LinkedIn for a while, it might be worth it to go back to your profile and really just look, where can I add, what areas can I add a bit more information about? Keeping with the professional theme of LinkedIn, you're going to want to keep this in mind when choosing photos for your LinkedIn profile. Other social media accounts can be great places for you to show pictures of your lifestyle. So perhaps you and your family, you and your dog, that type of thing. But this isn't a great idea with LinkedIn. Since it's a professional site, it's a wise idea to post a photo of your face or the top half of your body, making sure you're wearing business attire, that type of thing. And just you in the profile photo is best. On the screen, you'll see this helpful illustration that breaks down the different dimensions that are ideal for your LinkedIn photos. The LinkedIn profile photo works best when it's 400 by 400 pixels. If you are using LinkedIn, please make sure you don't leave this space for a photo empty. With any site, it looks really bad when you have an opportunity to have a photo of yourself and you just leave it blank and you have that kind of ghost look to the profile. It doesn't look, people might make assumptions, perhaps that you're lazy or that you don't understand how the site works, and you don't want them making those assumptions. You also have an option to put in a header photo, which is kind of like a banner photo that's similar with other social media sites, and that's at the top of the page. Again, it's wise to keep this photo business appropriate. So there may be a photo of your office that works for this. Perhaps you can find a good photo of the city you live in to put here as well. Not everyone has a header photo on LinkedIn, but it might be one way to set your profile apart. And the ideal size for the header photo is 1000 by 425 pixels. So after one of the first webinars I put on, I received a great question from one of our sales associates, and he wanted to know who he should be connecting with on LinkedIn. He said he had received a bunch of requests from agents at competing businesses, and he wasn't comfortable with necessarily connecting with them because he knew through LinkedIn, connections can see who else you are connected to. So one might choose not to connect with any competitors on LinkedIn. However, there's another way that you can control this. So if you look under your privacy settings, there is a way to select whether or not you allow your connections to see who else you are connected to. So this might be a good option if you're connecting with many different people, perhaps competing agents, but you don't want them to see other connections, which may include clients. There are many other helpful options as well under the privacy controls function, and I think it's well worth your time to go through these and choose your preferences. I don't necessarily recommend tightening all of your privacy settings so that you're hard to find on LinkedIn or so that all people see is the very bare bones of it, but I think it's a good idea to go in, kind of see what the settings are defaulted as, and take a look at what your options are and what you're most comfortable with. As you can see, other options on this menu include things like who can follow your updates right here, and also selecting what others can see when they viewed your profile. For those of you who are using Facebook, Twitter, or other social media platforms, you'll know that there's a homepage or a news feed, which is essentially the spot where all the latest action is happening. And this news is generated by your friends, those you follow, businesses you like, all of those types of things. And LinkedIn is no different in that regard. It has a homepage with the news feed, which is generated by your connections. Although people don't tend to post quite as often on LinkedIn as they do on other social media sites, it's still a good idea to check this periodically and keep up to date what is happening within your network. Just like Facebook, you can like, comment, or share on updates that your connections have posted. And one thing that's kind of cool about this is I find on Facebook, the interaction is much more common. So this might be a good opportunity for you on LinkedIn to start taking a closer look at that news feed. for example, let's say your client posts an update and you have them on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. If they share an update and you like it, you might be one of only 2, 3, or 4 people who actually like that. So you stand out a little bit more that you're engaging with what they posted. Whereas on Facebook, they might post a very similar type of thing and get 30+ likes. So just by that sense of it, there's an opportunity for you to go in there and be a little more interactive and really stand out on LinkedIn. From the home page, you will also find the buttons for sharing an update, which is right here, and publishing a post. And I'm going to get into those a little bit later. So now we move into the portion of the webinar on using LinkedIn effectively. And this first tip kind of takes off where the last slide ended. So real estate social media expert Katie Lance refers to LinkedIn as the set it and forget it social media network. And I think that description, unfortunately, is dead on for many people. But we have to remember that people can constantly be viewing your LinkedIn profile, so you should make sure that your profile is always updated with your latest work information, your latest skills, all of those types of things, current job. It's nothing worse than if you switched offices or something like that, having old, outdated information on LinkedIn. There are other ways you can stay active on LinkedIn as well. So as I mentioned, on the home screen, you'll find options for sharing updates, uploading photos, and publishing posts. It's a good idea to share an update. Try to do one at least once a week. As I mentioned, LinkedIn is typically a little less busy than some of the other social media networks, especially when you compare it to something like Twitter. But it's still a good idea to be contributing valuable business-related content on a regular basis. It's a good idea also to remember LinkedIn's professional nature when sharing updates as well. So for those of you who are keeping an eye on the playoffs, you might be thrilled or very heartbroken that the Calgary Flames won their playoff game last night. But sharing your opinion on that game is probably best suited for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, one of those types of social media sites. LinkedIn updates are often links to interesting articles, job-related news, profile updates, etc. Another way to stay active on LinkedIn and continually grow your network is by choosing the icon in the top right for adding connections. So LinkedIn will continually provide you with suggestions of people you may know, and it's a good idea to go through this list periodically and add those people you'd like to connect with on LinkedIn. But as another tip, when you do go to connect with someone on LinkedIn, I believe the best option for you is to actually go and visit their profile and then click the connect button. And here's why. When you do it that way, it's going to give you the form that's up on this screen, as opposed to just adding a little plus button and sending a default message to that individual. So LinkedIn doesn't want you to connect with people you don't already know. They want you to connect with people you do know. So it asks you whether you're a colleague, a classmate, perhaps you've done business together, whether you're friends or other. And if you click other, it may prompt you to add the email address just to kind of prove that you do know this person. The key on this slide, though, is that that LinkedIn gives you an opportunity to add a personal note. Many people simply send the invitation with the default message. And the default message is, I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn. Maybe you've gotten those emails several times and you've seen that same sentence and you automatically know this is an invitation from LinkedIn. But an easy way to stand out is by quickly writing a more personalized message. So here's an example. I pulled this screenshot from someone named Tyler who I'd like to connect with. So why not say something like, hi Tyler, it was great meeting you at last week's networking event downtown. I'd love to also connect here on LinkedIn. Something to that effect. Sign my name. LinkedIn defaults your full name. Perhaps you just use your first name. It shows that it's original. It's something different. There's a social media guru by the name of Guy Kawasaki who was once told by LinkedIn that he had the most pending connection requests of anyone in the world. And they wanted to know why so many were just left pending. He didn't turn them down or agree or anything like that, and didn't connect with the people. And he said for every request that he got that just used the default message, he just simply ignored it. He wasn't interested in connecting with someone unless they were going to take the time to write him a personalized message. All right, so one of the best tools I think that LinkedIn offers is the ability to publish posts. And by doing so, these are going to be useful for your clients. Accessing the publishing screen is very easy. First step, when you're on the home page, you simply click Publish a Post, which is next to Share an Update and Upload a Photo. And from there, you will be brought to a screen as is displayed in number 2 of this slide. And you can easily add an image to the top of the screen. You can write a headline, and then you can begin writing the body of your text. Picture number 3 shows you what your post might look like after you've added those elements in, and then you simply go to the top right-hand part of the screen and click Publish. Doing these type of longer form posts is incredibly valuable. These are articles that you can link to outside of LinkedIn, but also even within LinkedIn, you're going to quickly come across as an expert amongst your other connections, because the fact of the matter is a few people use this tool, but many do not. And really, information you're able to write about various real estate topics within your local area or within your own expertise, I honestly believe that's the best kind of content that you can be producing on any type of social media. So yes, these posts take a little bit more time, but just remember they don't have to be incredibly long. You could do something like top 5 reasons why living in blank neighborhood is a great decision. Things like that, those top 5 lists, top 10 lists, those are golden content online. People love those kind of quick lists, quick hit type things, and you come across as the expert. We recently released our 2015 Spring Market Trends Report. And so another example, we released that report. You should have got the email. If not, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to send that report over. But if you're in Vancouver, why not read over the Vancouver section of the report, pull a few of the bullet points that are already broken down for you within the report, and then create a LinkedIn post explaining the latest market trends in your own city. What else are you getting asked about by clients? If you're asked more than one question, or if you're asked any question by one person, there's a good chance others have the exact same question. They're wondering about the same thing. So I think it's a good idea as well, anytime you hear a question, write that down. That might make golden content later on. That's something that you can answer in a future blog post, in a future LinkedIn post, and it will be very helpful for clients. So I mentioned Katie Lance before, and this is stealing another trick of hers, but it's a great idea. And I mentioned endorsements before, and basically those are skills that you list on your own profile, and then if people agree that you have that skill set, they do one click and it puts their little photo beside it, and they're essentially endorsing that you have that skill set. Recommendations are a little bit better, essentially, and they're a little bit longer. And what those are, they're almost like letters of reference. And if you have a few recommendations, they're very powerful on your page. So how you give a recommendation is you visit someone's profile, you scroll down to the bottom, and there's a section, endorsements, recommendations, and you can write that person a recommendation. And I highly advise it. When you write someone else that recommendation, there is a great chance that at some point they may return the favor, or worst case scenario, they're going to be very appreciative that you took the time to do that. And that's one of the great opportunities with social media, is we have these opportunities to give through social media. And I think all of us have worked with that individual who, you know, they work so hard, maybe they're underappreciated, something like that, and you can just make their day by going in there, writing them a recommendation. And this approach, as compared to going out and asking other people to recommend you, I just think it's a lot more powerful. I think that you can, you know, make someone's day, and then hopefully they'll return the favor, rather than going out and saying, hey, can you go to my LinkedIn profile? Can you give me a recommendation? It's just a really good practice and a really good tool. With that said, the one disclaimer, I wouldn't suggest going out and blanketing recommendations to everyone in your network. These take a bit of time. You want to put quality behind them, write a few good words about people and stuff like that. So don't go out giving recommendations to everyone, but maybe choose 3 or 4 people in your network who you think deserve it. So one of the last tips I have here on using LinkedIn effectively is by checking out what LinkedIn groups might apply to you. So the image on this slideshow shows the results from a simple search I did just saying Canada Realtors. And I'm sure many of you instantly see a couple of groups that would probably be great to be a part of. At the bottom of the screen, you see that there's a RE/MAX Canada group. Right at the top, there's a group that's Realtors in Canada. all types of things like that. There are pages and pages of group results that showed up from this simple search. And groups can be a great way to get the latest information on what's happening in the industry. You can be a part of important conversations and discussions, and also this is a way to find more connections, expand your network. Well, I hope you took a couple of good nuggets out of today's webinar. A couple of the main points I'd like to bring up. LinkedIn, as I mentioned, the world's largest online professional network, and has many great tools that all of you can use as agents. Google Rank, establishing connections and promoting your skills are some of the benefits of LinkedIn. And of course, keep an eye on your LinkedIn profile often. Try to contribute updates or post periodically as well, and you will be using LinkedIn to the best of your advantage. I want to thank everyone who took the time today to tune into the webinar. If you ever have any questions, social media related, communications related, anything with the region update, please don't hesitate to contact me. Once again, it's wpatterson@remax.net. The number here, 1-800-563-3622. Thanks so much, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.